About 3 months ago, I found what I believe is the most perfect skateboarding truck on the market right now, which is these Thunder Lights right here. And I would still be riding these for the next 6 months. I've only ridden for 3 months, they're still perfectly fine. But I finally got my hands on a pair of the hollow lights, which in comparison to the Thunder Lights, this has a hollow axle as well. So the Thunder Lights have a forged titanium base plate, hollow kingpin, but a full solid axle, which is what I believe to be the best truck because it's the lightest, plus it has the most strength where you're going to be grinding, which is across the hanger and axle. So this one here has the hollow axle, and that's the only difference. Besides, this has a blue bushing compared to that. I'm just pointing out the differences for you guys here. So obviously the hollow lights are going to be lighter than the Thunder Lights because this has a hollow axle compared to the lights, which have the solid axle. Like I said, same exact hollow kingpin, same hollow titanium base plate, but it has a reinforced hollow axle. So I don't think they've just drilled a hole in it to make it lighter. They've still made a pretty strong reinforced steel so it doesn't crack or snap, because I've had the independent hollows which had the hollow axle and that ended up cracking on me, so that kind of put me off the hollow trucks. But Thunder, I have faith in them. Thunder's been my favorite company since, I don't know, 10 years or so. They grind smoother than independents, they look better. My experience with independents have never been good, so I'm always going to stick with Thunder. So I can't remember if I weighed the Thunder Lights, but I've just weighed the hollow lights here today, and they're 324 grams each, which is 648 if my math is correct. So yeah, that's pretty light. That's really light. It's a 151, which is a really big truck as well, and this feels like it weighs almost nothing. So it's definitely going to be lighter, which for me is good. I ride big wheels, I ride big boards, so if I can drop any weight on my board wherever I can, it's going to be in the trucks. So I'm pretty much going to be comparing the hollow lights to the Thunder Lights. It shouldn't be too much of a difference because it's only the hollow axle, but I'm still going to take a lot of notice as I'm skating today to feel if I can feel any difference, if my board flips any faster because my board's going to be lighter, if I can pop any higher, if I have a bit more board control because the board follows me a bit more. I'm not sure if it's going to make too much difference because the weight difference isn't really going to be that much, but I'm skating a smoother skate park today, so it's going to be a smoother ride. I've only just skated 2 days ago, so I still know exactly how my board feels, so I'm going to be able to make the comparison of how this feels compared to my last skate. So the test I've got in mind for today is going to be, obviously I'm going to be grinding a lot of rails and ledges to see how these grind, how they control. I'm going to try and like carve around the bowl a little bit just to see the responsiveness of the bushings and the board control, which I don't usually do because I can't really skate balls, but you need to know what the turning circle is like, how the responsiveness is like as well, so I'm going to do that for you guys. And then obviously I'm going to end with some flip tricks just to see, because it's going to be lighter, my board should be flipping a little bit faster, and my board should feel lighter, so I should be able to pop higher. So I'm going to set these up, head to the park, give you guys my first impressions of it, and then I'm going to get into all those tests. Once again, so impressed with these trucks. I didn't tighten them at all. They were a little bit loose, but I just rode them and they're perfectly worn in. Just did a few grinds on the ledge and the flat bar, and these things are perfect. I cross-lock my back 50s, which pinch the back truck, and as soon as I pop back off, it just springs back into place. So these bushings are amazing. The responsiveness is great. So everything's feeling light, feeling good so far. Just gonna keep skating, do all those tests I was talking about earlier, and just have a fun skate. Keep testing them out.
Wash me and cleanse me. The wicked drown in water, let go wicked water. Wicked drown in water. Let's go on the longest journey far away.
So these trucks were amazing. I had such a good session skating these. So majority of the skateboarding I do is on rails and ledges, if you haven't noticed already. So trucks are very important to me, and because I usually ride big wheels and a big board, I need to drop some weight on my setup wherever I can. So these Hollow Light trucks come in handy so well for me. Going from the Thunder Lights to the Thunder Hollow Lights, it made a really big difference. So I'll get into those points now. So like I said earlier, the trucks just wore in straight away. Like they were a little bit loose, but they weren't uncomfortably loose. I usually ride loose trucks so I could handle how loose it was, and then it was firming up as I was skating. So within 5 to 10 minutes, these just wore in pretty much instantly. So it was so good, so comfortable to skate. I was carving around the bowl. I'm not good at skating bowls, but I was carving around, trying to feel how responsive they are and how much they turn and how tight they are, and they just felt perfect. And sometimes when you get some new trucks and you land on the side and you get wheel bite, the whole axle is like bending that way because the bushings aren't set properly, and these just would come straight back to the middle every time. So responsive. I didn't get wheel bite once because as I was starting to lean, my trucks would just go centered again. Such a weird thing to explain, but the bushings would just keep the truck centered at all times. It was loose and controllable, but it would still keep it centered, so it just felt perfect. When it comes to grinding the rails and the ledges, I pinch my grinds a lot, like 50s and feebles and crooked grinds, so the bushings were good enough for it to pinch really hard, and then when I'd pop out and land, it would go back to the center and there'd be like no wheel bite, there'd be no off balance. I keep saying this, but it feels like the most perfect truck. They definitely were lighter than the Thunder Light. I don't know exactly weight-wise how much they were, but obviously because these have the hollow axle, they've stripped a lot of weight off of it, and I could tell, not when I was doing ollies and stuff, but when I started doing flip tricks, it wasn't exactly getting any higher, but it was flipping and spinning faster. So I had to kind of control my flip tricks and slow it down a little bit and not flick it as hard, because when I was doing tray flips, it just kept whipping out and doing 540s. When I was doing nollie trays, the same thing was happening. I did some nollie flips and nollie heels and stuff, and that felt more comfortable, but it was more the spinning and the whipping. When I was trying to big spin, actually, I was having heaps of trouble with that trick because it just kept whipping out of place because the board was lighter. It would just pop and whip a little bit faster, if that makes sense. So yeah, board flipped a little faster because it was lighter. So if you're someone that's pretty heavy like me, rides a big board, rides big wheels, I would definitely recommend getting some Thunder Lights or the Hollow Lights. For me, I'm going to be grinding a lot, so I might have to do a 6-month review on how these wear in, because the hollow axle, I'm going to wear down this a lot as I'm grinding. So I'll see how much it wears in, if it ends up snapping off or what's going to happen, but I won't know until I skate for another 6 months. I'm going to have to come back then and let you know how the axle is holding up, but for now, it's just perfect. I've got nothing but good things to say about them. I'm really impressed, and I'm just going to keep skating these light trucks, either these Hollow Lights or the light ones, but I'm not sure that I'll ever go back to the standard Thunder trucks or standard trucks in general. Now I'm really liking the light ones. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope it helped. I was just talking about how good these are the whole time, but definitely recommend, if you enjoyed this video, check out the video of me skating the Thunder Lights, which is right here. See the comparison between the two, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.